One huge thing. Ow! That's the second time I have hit my elbow on this thing.
I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
Ooh, this lighting though. Whatever's happening with this like sunset window lighting right now, it's doing good things for me. I like it. But welcome back to Staying Salty. My name's Chelsea, and sorry if I have like a lisp or something today. I actually just got Invisalign for the first time, so I'm like trying not to stumble over my words, but I'm starting to get used to it, but still not quite used to it. So if I sound like I have a lisp, I'm sorry, and just bear with me. And if you can't tell, I have a new camera. Obviously, what you've always been wanting is to see my face even clearer on YouTube. Well, your dreams have been answered, and I have a new camera that I got for my birthday, and I'm loving it. This is the first time I get to try it out, so hope you guys can tell how pretty my face is. But really. Well, moving on before someone clicks out of this video because I haven't started talking about the actual topic. But our topic today is moving, changing clinics with cystic fibrosis, which moving, period, can be stressful and hectic, and moving with CF, having to change CF clinics to, there's the Invisalign, that can be even more stressful. So I've actually done this a lot. Maybe more than anyone else in the Staying Salty group. I've been in 5 different centers in 3 different states over the course of not that many years, actually. So I've obviously moved to different centers because of moving. You guys know I went to college in Florida and I live in California now. But I also had to change a few centers because of the actual center and I not agreeing, and just, in my opinion, not being a very well-equipped center. So I'm not going to say any specific center names or anything, because I know people who've gone to the centers that I didn't agree with and that didn't work out for me, and they love them. But with that being said, I don't want to say anything negatively about anything and influence possibly someone's interaction with their doctor, or potentially going to that doctor just because I said something, and influence someone's healthcare, because everyone's opinion is different, everyone's experience is different. I'm just gonna try and keep it lighthearted and talk about moving in general, because I can probably do an entire video on the horror stories that I endured in centers that I left. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about moving, not horror stories. So horror stories will be another video or something. But when moving or changing centers, whatever reasoning it is that you are deciding to change centers, I think the #1 thing is communication. Whether it is because you don't agree with that center, or because of the care, or because you're moving states, I think an open line of communication is always important, at least until you are in that new center, because you never want to burn a bridge, especially if you don't have a new center already set up. You don't want to burn a bridge and be doctorless and in need of a doctor because you told one center to, you know, screw off. But I think that open line of communication, saying, you know what, look, like, I think I'm just going to look for a new center, or hey, I'm moving, do you have any suggestions about a new center? But just being very transparent, that usually that's very helpful in a situation where you have to transfer everything and transfer all these documents, and it is a lot of work. So trying to keep the center that you have on your side for as long as you can is a definite must. Beyond that, one huge thing. Ow! That's the second time I have hit my elbow on this thing. One huge thing is research. If I had done the research that no, that's a lie. Maybe if I had done the research that I have done now on centers that I left, I probably wouldn't have gone to them in the first place. But the reason I went to them at the time was because they were the closest. And that was convenient and that seemed great, and you know, they were recognized by the CF Foundation. But as I came to learn, we did not get along, and I did not think the care was anything that the CF Foundation would want to be represented as. And if I had done research like I have now, and I'd seen other fellow CFers saying the same things that I said about the center, I probably wouldn't have gone there. And I would have done my more research and looked at other options in the area, or maybe even a few hours away, and my experience would have been much better, and my care would have been better. And ultimately, my PFT dropped, God, it plummeted when I was at this one center, and maybe that would have been avoidable. Obviously there's no way to say now, but I like to think that maybe if I had done something, I would have been able to avoid something like that. And so I think one thing that is huge is doing your research. And even now with Facebook and everything, you can talk to so many other CFers and say, hey, does anyone have anything to say about this center or this center? I'm debating between the two. Or how does this center conduct X, Y, and Z? And you know, get patient to patient opinions and feelings. And you know, you can research all day about the center, but how does the doctor make you feel as a patient is huge. And that was honestly one of the main issues I had with one of my centers. My other main thing about moving with CF centers is talking to your new center, sitting down at that first, you know, appointment that you have with them, setting aside maybe like an hour and sitting down with them and talking about their expectations, talking about how they do things, because centers all over the place do things very differently. And you know, the first time you have an exacerbation, they'll want to admit you because they've never dealt with you before. And maybe ask them, you know, once I start feeling sick, what is the protocol? How do I go forward? Do you want me to come in for a PFT? Do I come in, give you a sputum sample? Do I just come into a clinic? Some centers do it very, very differently, and I've noticed being very upfront from the very beginning and understanding what is expected of you makes things go so much more smoothly when you do have an exacerbation and you do need it, rather than asking when you are sick. Because I think the main things that you'd want to ask about are, you know, how do we handle an exacerbation? Do you do home IVs? Do you like admittance only? Do you know, like how keen are they to including you in the entire decision? And I think there are just so many questions that, you know, are individual to each person and what you would need. But those were things that I was very interested in when I went to new centers, was how they ran things, what their protocol was, how I'd be able to reach them if I needed to, and things like that. Obviously the rest comes with time, trusting, communication and things like that. That comes with time, and you can really only learn that by being there for an extended amount of time. One of my last points, like I said, I'm trying to keep this lighthearted without dumbing it down too bad with all of my negativity that I've had to deal with. But my last part is to advocate for yourself. I think the main thing, even with any doctor, the best doctor in the world, you need to advocate for yourself. No one is in your body except for you. Nobody knows how you feel except for you. And so they can help you so much, but if you aren't there advocating for yourself, saying, look, I know my body, I know I need IVs, I know I need to be in the hospital, you know yourself best. And I think it's very, very important, regardless of what the doctor says, to advocate for yourself. And I know when I was in a center that didn't look at patient advocacy as important as other centers, it derailed the entire train, because patient advocacy is number one in CF care. And if you don't have that trust from your doctor, then the whole relationship is off, and it's not even a relationship really. You need to have a two-way street of trust, you trusting them and them trusting you, to tell them how you're feeling and what you're feeling. And when you tell them that, you have to be able to trust that they are going to act accordingly and they're not going to dismiss you or, you know, say you're overreacting, things like that. They're going to listen to you. So I think regardless of whether, even if you're not moving centers, definitely advocating for yourself is huge. So beyond all of the actual CF nitty-gritty, I've moved so much. I have driven cross-country from Tampa to San Diego, which was 3,300 miles. Drove across country with all my medicine, all of everything, and did the same thing when I went from Delaware to Florida for college. I drove 17 hours, and moving's hard and stressful no matter what. But when you do move, always remember that your health is number one and set yourself up for success. When I went across the country, I took 2 weeks because I knew I wanted to see the entire country, obviously. And 2, I knew I couldn't do it in a 3-day stretch. That would just wear me out. So I pre-planned the entire trip and I set up each place. I'll put the map that I made somewhere up here. But I pre-planned each place we were gonna stop, had hotels booked, had everything, you know, planned. So I was setting myself up for success. And when you do move, because it is so stressful, set yourself up for success. There's no reason not to, and there's no reason you shouldn't be able to do it, CF or not, flawlessly. Beyond the stress, because the stress is going to happen no matter what. But you should be able to do it as long as you set yourself up and plan. God, this Invisalign. As long as you plan accordingly, you should be able to do it just like anyone else. So, like I say in all my other videos, if you have any questions about moving or changing centers, or if you want to talk to me more in-depthly about some of my experiences, like I said, in here I didn't want to put any names out there or anything like that, but if you want to talk to me, I'm more than open to talk. I always put my email down in the description, so check that out. I will put all the links to all of our Facebook, Instagram, things like that. So, alright, I will talk to you guys next week. Bye!